I came across a story in the news, and when I say I came, not like that, I just mean I read something in the news, about a young woman who's about to get married. So this should be a joyous story, uplifting, happy, fun. So from India, this is 24-year-old Kajama Bindu. I wrote that one down. And I think you'll agree, she looks a very pleasant young lady, more than capable of making her future husband, wife, or they, them, very happy. But Kashama describes herself as an influencer, so rest assured some stupid shit is about to go down. Because no one who says they're an influencer has any practical use on God's earth other than looking pretty on social media. So, on the 11th of this month, during a traditional Hindu ceremony, she's going to marry herself. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but if you're in a relationship where no one else is involved, isn't that just being single? And there's nothing wrong with that. As far as I can recall, being single consisted of occasional, amazing, but totally meaningless one-night stands, but more often than not, spending the evenings alone, crying and or masturbating. And in my single days, it never occurred to me to marry myself, because as a man, I wouldn't know how to simultaneously get down on one knee and also act surprised like I didn't know it was going to happen. And secondly, I'd say anyone who wants to marry themselves is either suffering from an undiagnosed mental illness or has truly mind-blowing levels of narcissism. But Miss, soon to be Mrs. Bindu, says that she doesn't need Prince Charming because she's her own queen, and that's all well and good. Although I should point out, if she'd married a prince, she'd be a princess, at least until one or both of his parents had died. Of course, Queen Elizabeth II, she was married to Prince Philip, but that title was given to him by her. It was honorific. I've gone off topic. So, imagine meeting someone for the first time at, say, a social gathering, and you strike up some small talk, and the other person says, I recently got married. So you respond with something like, really, is your spouse here? And if that other person then replied, yes, I'm married to me, well, if I were in that situation, firstly I'd be thinking, is this James McAvoy from the movie Split? Or do they genuinely have DID, dissociative identity disorder, or what used to be called multiple personality disorder? Probably not, it's never been proved to exist. But nonetheless, I would be glancing around casually, seeing what I could use as a fucking weapon. But as I said, the lady in question is a Hindu. And Hindu weddings cost thousands, and they could go on for a week. A sodding week of her friends staring at her, going, she's finally fucking cracked. And her parents arguing about which one of them must have dropped her on her head when she was a child. But for the amount of self-importance it would take to marry yourself, it wouldn't surprise me if one day during the wedding she comes down for breakfast and says, I consummated the marriage last night, smell my fingers. And she may be happy now, but what if in the future she meets Mr. Right? Because then she's going to have to divorce herself before she can marry him. And the lawyers are going to have a field day, turning the courtroom into a fucking circus, because she'll need two lawyers to argue against each other why their client, who is the same woman that they both represent, has grounds for divorce and should be able to keep the possessions she already owns. And as this video draws to a close, just to be clear, I bear no malice or ill will towards Kashama. It's just that if she were any more up herself, she'd be in danger of turning inside out. And one final thought, she's an influencer, so a shallow, vapid attention whore who's famous for being famous. Does anyone else think this could just be a massive publicity stunt? As ever, thanks for watching. So from India, meet 24-year-old Kazama. It's not Kazama, that's Japanese. 24-year-old Kajama. Fuck it. I wouldn't know how to propose to myself by getting down on what fucking nearly do. And Hindu weddings, they cost thousands of pounds, or rupees in her case, thousands, and can last up to a week. And I'm basing that on reading one book written by an Asian TV presenter, and that I was stuck in a traffic jam for 4 hours in Birmingham because of a Hindu wedding. And to be clear, I like Hindus, I've got some good Hindu friends. And you never hear of a Hindu going into a busy shopping centre and detonating themselves. Clear, I bear no ill will, fuck it. No ill will to what the fucking sun's come out. That's buggered the continuity. Just put a filter on it, down, you fucking prick.